In the last video, we took a look at an executable about which we could tell most everything it wanted to do by just looking at its strings, its imported functions, using a static tool like PE Studio. And it also took a brief look at another executable that didn't tell us as much, just looking at it statically because it was packed. So what I'm going to do here is take a look at another packed executable to see what we can see and how we might get more details out of it, but still just using static analysis without actually executing this file. So we're going to take miner.exe and drop it into PE Studio. Again, this is pretty much how we start every investigation. You'll see right away that we have good information. Its description is XMRig CPU miner, so this particular sample isn't exactly hiding what it is. If you don't know, XMRig is a very common and popular cryptocurrency miner. I believe it mines Ethereum that malicious actors will get installed on systems and they'll set it to run and it'll run and mine Ethereum for their account. No, it's Monero. Monero is the XMRig cryptocurrency that it mines. My apologies. If we take a look at strings, there's quite a few, 14,000 strings. Again, we can see xmrig.exe, xmrig.com. At the very top, we see UPX0 and UPX1. That's important. We'll take a look at that later. And then we see just a whole lot of junk. So if I scroll through this, it's mostly kind of junk, happenstance strings. There's not a lot here. So you'd expect that you'd see more strings in a normal unpacked executable, and you would. If we take a look at the functions that are imported, there's only 11. I believe I mentioned in the last video that a small number of functions is usually a very good indicator that this executable is packed, because most executables will load far more than 11 functions. It's not a guarantee, of course, because executables can load functions dynamically at runtime, so that would possibly be a reason for a small number of functions imported right away that are visible here. If we take a look at sections, this is where we can tell for certain that this executable is packed. We saw UPX0 and UPX1 before. Those are the names of these two sections. Instead of .text and .data, UPX0, UPX1. The raw size of what would normally be .text is nothing, meaning on disk, as it currently resides, this section has no data in it, but it has allocated to it in memory a large amount of data, right? This virtual size is the amount of space allocated for this section in memory. That basically means that data is going to be unpacked into this section. And since we see UPX0 and UPX1 as the section names, that's a very good indicator that this is packed with UPX. What's UPX? Good question. UPX is, well, this. UPX is an open source packer that is very common, very easy to use. And for our purposes, it actually has a built-in unpacker, which you can download and run via the command line. So that's what we'll do. But before I actually go and unpack it, let's do another double check. Let's use another tool to make sure this is packed with UPX. I can drop miner onto detected easy. Say, yep, it's packed with UPX 3.94. I could even check exe info PE, which should be, there it is. And again, packed with UPX, even says unpack UPX-D. So that's the built-in unpacker for UPX. All you really need to do is first, I'm going to make a copy of this, paste it on the desktop, so we have an original in case we need to do something with that. So if I pull up the command prompt, since I have the UPX executable added to my path, I can just type in UPX-D miner.exe. Oh, and that's not going to work because I have the executable opened in PE Studio. So we'll do it again. Now it's unpacked. See, it's a significantly larger file size because it's been decompressed. And now we'll take it and load it back into PE Studio, and we'll see what we can see. All right, now that it's loaded, we can see right away there are far more functions, over 300. And we can scroll through to get an idea of what this might do. Create a new process, create a new thread within the process. It looks like it's loading just a ton of stuff. Network connection functions, which is going to be necessary for a cryptocurrency miner since it needs to check into the mining pool. And then we take a look at strings. There are a few more, but we're going to see a lot more readable strings, such as the HTTP verbs connect and post. See configuration information for the mining pool. You can see login, password, username parameters. It's probably passing to the mining pool. We're going to see of course, the strings for all of the imports that it's loading in. And then a little bit further down, we should see some of the domains that this mining malware will reach out to. These are good IOCs to add to look for if you've got a breach and this malware has been installed on systems or has been suspected of installed, or you're trying to identify systems where it's running. These domains will serve as good indicators of compromise to tell you, hey, this system has been infected with this mining malware. I think that's pretty much it. Once you have these IOCs, you're generally good to go from a defending standpoint, since it's just cryptocurrency mining malware. It's usually not anything too nefarious, so you can identify affected systems and get the software off there, get them remediated, and you're pretty much good to go. That'll do it for this one. Thanks for watching.